So it's like if Jay Leno was a PC gaming nerd, this is how he would do a press conference?
Basically. Except without, like, a backing band or jokes.
Do you think this would be better if we had a backing band?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything's better with a backing band.
To the Endless Backlog podcast. Hope all is well where you are. This is the second part of our E3 run of podcasts this week. We are talking about Microsoft. So welcome once again to the number one amateur hour podcast as told by me, Gagandeep Singh. As like I said, we're not restarting. We're just going to keep going because Christopher Compton is here.
Never restart.
Ben Minkoff is also here.
No turning back.
No turning back. We're just going to roll these out. Mad amateur. Just fuck that shit. We get tongue-tied? Fuck that shit. We say something racist? Fuck that shit.
Well, we'll see.
I edited out that thing with William yesterday. But I made it the cold open, so technically I didn't really edit it out.
You really edited it in.
Yeah, in a way,
you, showcased it.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
Yeah, whatever. So,
one day this is
what are we here to discuss now?
Today we're going to talk about the Microsoft E3 press conference, because I said we would be talking about it on the last podcast we did that went up this past morning, and because chronological order-wise, Microsoft was the next one up, and now that we've had a day or two to actually have some details on their games, we can talk about Microsoft's press conference as well as information that has come out about those games. Mm-hmm. So, gentlemen, should we start with,
start your engines.
How about, I want to lead with this. I don't want to lead with the games necessarily. I think, let's start with what might be the biggest megaton of Microsoft's E3 press conference was, that system has, quote unquote, backwards compatibility now.
Is that really a big megaton?
That was a holy shit your pants moment.
I mean, if I'm being honest, the crowd reacted to that the loudest versus anything else.
I mean, that was a nice surprise. But, it's going to be it's the same way they did the 360's backwards compatibility.
Which wasn't very good.
Which was kind of... I mean, they'll do 200 games, and it'll be okay, and then that'll be it.
It was just so out of left field. We had so long ago buried that hope that it would ever...
We basically were like, no, we're just gonna keep getting remasters, and then Microsoft's like, okay, you get your Super Meat Boy back if you bought it through XBLA, and it's like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a megaton in the sense that it's gonna move boxes, but it's that was a good move.
It's definitely a quality of life thing because I still have a huge backlog of 360 games, and every time I turn on my 360, it makes a noise, and I'm like, oh, please, please, please.
Yeah,
so
for me,
I can retire that forever.
Yeah, for me, it's a matter of I've been hunting a PS3 that has backwards compatibility because I want to have a machine around the house that can play a Demon's Souls or a Vanquish or something, but the fact that this has backwards compatibility, if they do it right, I should be able to play Shadow Complex, which is pretty much XBLA exclusive. I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll want to play... I mean, Viva Pinata is already coming over, so that's awesome. Yep. But
that was one of the first games announced.
The original Dead Rising really never came to PC, which I think the original Dead Rising is the best one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that game's great, so that's cool. Plus, any excuse to play Vanquish and the real version of Bayonetta 1. So, otherwise, Microsoft announced a pretty cool-looking controller, which they instantly ruined with the price tag.
Yeah, no, that was a really cool-looking controller.
Yeah.
So, remind me what the price tag was.
$150.
Half the cost of the console itself, almost.
Pretty much 15 indie games, if you want to look at it. Two and a half AAA games, if you.
And this is without a Steam sale.
And it's without a Steam sale. Well, no, 15 indie games is probably a Steam sale. Quality indie games, yeah, because they're coming out at $15 a pop or $20 a pop. I'm just saying, like, realistically, if you save up your time, $150 buys you a lot on Steam.
Yeah, and it only buys you one controller.
Yeah, a controller, which really is only there if you, like, are super into going MLG or some shit. Yeah,
apparently.
It's a very premium controller. I was wanting to get it because I was like, I might like the extra triggers for Halo 5, but I don't like Halo enough to do that. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't like video games enough to do that.
Yeah, I don't like video games enough to spend $150 on this stupid controller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was really it as far as, like, non-video game stuff, right?
They
1
did
terabyte Xbox One model.
Did they actually talk about that at the conference?
No, but it counts, right? So, you got details on that, Ben?
They're gonna replace the 500 gigabyte ones with 1 terabyte ones. That's about it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's selling, yeah. It comes with Master Chief Collection.
Does it come with the Master Chief? Why would they ship a broken game with their console?
I think they feel like that game's patched enough.
You know how I know that it's not patched? I just finished playing it, and 2 out of the 4 games we played dropped, so no, that game's not fixed.
Well, you go tell Microsoft, because they're going to fix that for as many people as they can.
My friends were claiming, this never happens, it's just because you're here. I was like, sure, it doesn't happen all the time.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Some people are saying it is fixed for them. Like, even on GAF, like, some people say it's broken, other people say it's fixed, other people say it's not right. I feel like that's become more and more of a connection thing, right? And it's not, no offense, Chris, but your connection isn't always the greatest thing in the world. But, like, facts are facts. That game is not where it should be, even today.
Yeah, I still remember that first day when it had 1 million game modes and everything was working flawlessly. And
we played that one match, and we thought that one match that we instantly got into was representative of everything else that game would be, and it's like, oh no, it's...
Back when we were innocent, naive.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if William's actually about to join right now, so...
Yeah, we might have a special guest.
We might actually have to add William, which brings us back to last night's podcast crew.
Yeah. But yeah, in the meantime, Microsoft definitely focused on games.
Alright, yeah, so he's not here. Microsoft focused on games, so, like, when they had Halo 4, they led with Halo 5. Will should be home in 15, and I'll add him then, so. Will's gonna join us in 15 minutes on the podcast, keeping it real time. You think I should edit that part out? Nah, fuck that. Nope. Let's be lazy.
Fuck all this.
You're gonna hear my fucking typing.
They can't anticipate it. So it's interesting to note, they did not open with Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they have for the last, 3 or 4 years.
Not only did they not open with Call of Duty wasn't even there.
Yeah, it was at the...
Call of Duty was not present at the conference.
Where was it, though?
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, we got Foreshadow our podcast today. Alright, so they led with Halo 5, right? Halo 5 had a beta that I felt was mostly met positively. Like, I never got the sense that it was completely shat on.
No, it was okay.
Yeah, I personally liked it. I thought it was a step back in the right direction for Halo after Halo 4.
There were concerns about, the aiming stuff, but it seems like that wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, the ADS stuff is not an issue. I would rather have, an actual zoom visually, because I just don't like the way Yeah, I just don't need the ADS. I feel... Well, because for certain weapons, it feels really arbitrary and stupid. Like, the scope takes up so much of the screen. I like that clean, quick, line of sight.
You don't want anything getting in the way of your view.
Yeah, exactly. Personally, I think the addition of Smart Scope has helped assault rifles and SMGs to actually be a fucking useful part of the fucking multiplayer. Because anyone that has played Halo 2 and Halo 3 and even Reach, that assault rifle, Halo 4, anything that's on a BR or a DMR is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you just get wrecked. And to me, they're not viable weapons in the sandbox. They're so outclassed by the BR and DMR at a range that any advantage they have at close range is minimal. Right? Because, they also have headshot bonuses while you're at it. So it's like, what the fuck? You know. This, I feel evens up the playing field a little bit. And so, being able to use assault rifles was a little, to me at least, a step forward in the sense like, finally, we can actually use these weapons in a good way. Otherwise, I gotta say, as someone who routinely likes pointing out that Halo has not had a good campaign since Halo Combat Evolved, and that the best 2 Halo campaigns of the last, since then, are Halo 4 and Reach, which are average campaigns at best, right?
I wouldn't even go that far with Reach.
Well, okay. But, what I'm basically getting at is, even with that said, I've never felt Halo had bad demos at E3. Like, ODST looked blandish because it was just ugly. And Halo 3 just didn't have a demo at E3 the year it was out. It had a trailer. But, like, I thought Halo 2 obviously had a very good demo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it had a crowd pleaser. Halo Reach's demo, like, it had a tease, but, like, the tease was exciting because it was like, oh, yeah, Bungie's doing something cool. And then you played it and Bungie didn't do something cool. But, and Halo 4, I felt like was actually a good demo. Like, it had some promise to it because it was like, okay, it's not all the way not Halo, but these new enemies sort of come off a little bit more interesting. They're more menacing by default, because they're not the stupid grunts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the weapons. And then Halo 5, I was just like, man, that looks like any other fucking shooter.
It was so Call of Duty linear scripted explosion spectacle. Yeah. I honestly thought they'd switched over to Call of Duty. I wasn't looking.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, all the Republic Commando stuff that was sort of, like, hinted at in the Game Informer write-up is basically superficial shit, right? Like, I didn't get a sense that those commands, those squad commands, are going to be meaningful in gameplay.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, no, it's hard. It kind of looked a little bit like the original Mass Effect, how you just, like, point somewhere and they go there.
Yeah, but... like,
I'm sure it's way more in-depth than that, but not anything.
I mean, you say that, but it might not actually be more in-depth than that. It might literally...
Actually, you could do a lot in that. You could give people commands and stuff.
Right, yeah. So we'll see.
Well, at least Mass Effect, it felt like the level design accommodated your commands a little bit.
I just don't see what Halo gameplay can offer kind of squad-based mechanics.
Yeah, like you have to actually alter Halo, which God forbid they ever do, you know? Like, I feel like,
Halo's very chaotic.
Yeah. Personally, I don't mind that it's scripted, because I don't think Halo's always had some form of scripting, and having a little direction has never hurt the game, because even Halo 4, a little bit more scripted than usual, but it was still exactly what you wanted out of what you got from previous Halo campaigns. You had open spaces with dudes to kill, and it wasn't like, you gotta hit this dude and that dude and that dude and that dude and that dude in a very, like, specific way, necessarily. It was more like the weird combat puzzles that Reach had going on, which I'm not too fond of, but whatever.
Yeah, like even in the first level of Halo 4, it's very scripted at the start, but then you get into that big, like, hangar bay.
Yeah,
that was
hangar
really
bay,
cool.
And then you get into the zero gravity area.
Yeah.
And
it might just be that demo specifically, they thought, oh, let's grab the audience with a lot of...
Yeah, it was very spectacle driven, and I was like,
this
is just Halo. Like, you already have a franchise that's old, stale, and slow, and then you have a scenario that's just so played out at this point. It wasn't like the good tone setter. It was like, man, it's gonna be another one of those Microsoft E3s.
Yeah, for sure.
If we could stay on Halo a little bit longer, they announced a new multiplayer mode for Halo, which is supposed to be the most ambitious multiplayer mode in a Halo game, blah, blah, blah. Warzone.
That looked cool.
And it actually looks really cool. It's a 24-player mode, so it's finally bumping up Halo player count on consoles to a 12v12. It's objective-based, from my understanding. And
it's objective-based.
It was yeah. And what the big twist is, besides the fact that the maps are huge, because they look bigger than they usually do in the Halo game, there's also an AI enemies, like the Prometheans showed up. I saw there's a boss fight type wave or something.
Yeah. It's PvP and PvE at the exact same time.
Like, it's got
PvE.
Yeah. It's got MOBA-ish styled things thrown into the multiplayer, which seems to make sense, because MOBA seems to be how we're messing with FPSs. Like, Titanfall basically had creeps.
Right. It did look a little bit like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, I thought it was actually interesting because, like, the fact there's footage of that game up and it's running at 60 frames.
Yeah.
With all those people on screen. I mean, whatever the resolution is, I don't particularly care. But if you can, like, execute that, I feel like the balance shouldn't necessarily be the issue that was, like, say, Invasion. Invasion sounded cool because it was asymmetrical, and asymmetrical is inherently, like, something cool. It's like, alright, finally, something, like, different, like, a different type of game. But, you know, anyone that's played enough Halo knows that UNSC weapons destroy Covey weapons, like, by a landslide, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Coveys have good power weapons, but their standard stuff is outclassed. So, this, because it's Spartan on Spartan, is a little bit more, you know, symmetrical, and that helps out. So, that was good. I personally would have put that on an E3 stage as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because, like, one of my biggest complaints for Halo has always been, it seems like it has the ability to go big with the scale, and then it never does.
Yeah.
Like, Reach is a prime example. Whereas this Warzone mode alone looks like it's handling scale very well.
Plus, if there's a consistency to Halo, is that series is a good multiplayer series. It has never particularly been a good campaign series, in my opinion. So, moving on.
The three battles were some of the best things in Halo campaigns. Those don't happen enough.
Yeah, those don't really happen enough. The very next, I don't know if this was the very next thing. So one of the very next things was a brand new IP announced by Microsoft. It is produced by Keiji Inafune of Mega Man fame, and it is developed by Armature Studios, which is a studio run by Mark Pacini, who was the director of Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. It's called ReCore?
Yeah.
ReCore or ReCorp? No, ReCore.
No, just ReCore. Yeah.
We saw some chick and, I guess like a robot dog. This is basically, maybe the real sequel to Half-Life 2. It's Alex and her and dog, right?
Prequel. It's the prequel.
It's the prequel? Yeah, okay. Unfortunately for said new IP, it fails the initial test of all E3 games. That is, if they don't show gameplay, they are not a video game, which means all we got is an announcement. That
CG trailer test.
Yeah, CG trailer.
We would call it the CG trailer test. There you go.
Like, I at least I understood the gimmick, the gameplay gimmick for the game from the CGI trailer, so at least I sort of know what it's about, compared to some CGI trailers where it's just nothing.
Yeah.
Evocative music and setting.
Yeah, where this looks like you'd have like this power ball, and you can kind of, at I'm guessing context-sensitive moments in the plot, kind of shift who your ally is at any given, to like, because it starts off with the dog, and then the dog explodes helping her with these little enemies, and then she puts the orb into a big robot, and then the robot is her ally.
Do you think the robots are like upgrades in the Metroid game?
So the ally is really her ball, and not...
the ball seems to be the ally, whereas what she puts it in seems to change. It kind of reminds me of I don't know, like a knack. You know how it changed depending on what. That.
Grew bigger over the course of the level.
Yeah. Now that we got the negative out of the way, that it doesn't have any gameplay, so you can't really take it too seriously.
Right.
First of all, it's a new IP, so hats off on that. Yeah, like, fuck yes, thank you. Microsoft needs more of those. Second of all, doesn't look like a shooter, necessarily.
No, does not look like a shooter.
Like, you would think it would be more in line with, even if it is a shooter, you would think maybe action-adventure based, because even as bad as Arkham Blackgate was, it was a Metroidvania on a handheld, and with their Metroid Prime run, I don't see that studio just making shoot dudes in the face a video game, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you can expect a little bit more from them.
A little bit more ambition.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a good chance for that studio to bounce back from Arkham Blackgate, because I feel like with that game, they clearly didn't have the budget, and they were rushed in a way that I don't think, for instance, Microsoft will rush them, because I don't think Microsoft likes to completely rush their new IPs. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, at least they're not tied to someone else's release date.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they just have early 2016 right now, so it could get pushed.
Yeah, it could get pushed back, because Microsoft's one delay. Do you feel like that's going to be more of a downloadable thing, or a $60 thing? Or...
It looked downloadable to me, but I could be wrong.
Ben?
Downloadable, probably.
Yeah, because it is an Inafune thing, yeah.
But that's the sort of stuff he's Well, it's not all the stuff he's worked on, but
it just seemed like a smaller scope project to me for some reason. Yeah,
you would think no one's betting big on something like that?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong, or it might be like one of those middle ground $40 things.
I mean, E3 has surprised me before, but
yeah. Then we got Fallout 4 on stage, and that was more Fallout 4. It was fun. It was whatever. I forgot.
It's kind of like a streamlined version.
Yeah. What was interesting about it was that there's cross-mod support between PC and Xbox One, so...
Yep. Which is nice.
Fallout 3 comes free with the Xbox One version, so I'm guessing those are going to be bonuses for a lot of games. Like, you get your game with our game, or whatever. Because backwards compatibility or emulation or whatever.
At least for a year, I can imagine we'll see that.
Yeah.
Where sequels will come with their predecessor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think it'll be as detailed as getting PC mods necessarily, because there's probably going to be some sort of limitation to it. Right? Because I don't think an Xbox One would be able to handle that. Like, because you could throw more at a PC just because of the sheer power at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
Yeah, there's only so much console.
No, like that. I feel like that game would break on an Xbox One on something.
Yeah, it's the second someone uploads like a texture pack or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So but it is interesting. We're starting to notice like mods as sort of a thing for
like a selling point. Yeah.
Microsoft being open to that stuff, which historically they've been very. The platform has always been very, very closed.
Yeah.
And here they're saying they'll allow mod distribution for free, even. And that's definitely a bit of a policy shift.
Yeah. That is actually awesome. It makes Microsoft look a little bit more chill. Next game was Plant vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. Pass the fuck out. God damn you.
Very difficult to care about that.
Yeah.
Apparently it sold quite well. I was surprised.
Yeah. I mean, I remember having a positive reaction to the first game being shown, but I think it was because, like, it made fun of modern shooters with its trailer, and I was like, you know what? Okay. And then you saw the game, and I was like, I don't want to play this. Like,
I mean...
Yeah.
I think they spent the perfect amount of time on it, which was annoying when another press conference spent 12 fucking minutes on it.
On the exact same game, yeah.
Oh my god, that was bad.
Warning. Next thing we got was Forza Motorsport 6. Didn't get a stage demo, got a brief snippet. It got a car coming from the Raptors. Yeah.
Really wanted to see that cable snap.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would have been scary. If someone
I don't know if I would have actually wanted that.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
You know what? Someone messed up. They should have been in that car, coming down with that car, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That would have been really badass.
Yeah, that would have been badass. Like, yeah, I'm at E3, yeah, whatever.
Only Jack Trident could have done it, though, and he wasn't at the Microsoft.
Forza Motorsport 6 feels like it's not going to have the content issues that Forza 5 had, which was that it launched with half of the stuff Forza 4 launched with.
Right.
This, from my understanding, is the exact same gameplay per square inch as Forza 4. The only thing I question is, how is someone not Forza'd out? Like, as good as these games have been, and well-received, how can you not be Forza'd out?
With Horizon, it's now almost yearly, right?
It is yearly.
Yeah, so far.
It's been yearly. 2011 was Forza 4, 2012 was Horizon 1, 2013 was Forza 5, last year, 2014 was Horizon 2, we're at Forza 6, 2015. We're probably going to be at Horizon 3 in 2017.
Holy shit.
They got a system going.
That's crazy. And honestly, it's probably actually one of the highest reviewed annual... Probably is the highest reviewed annual.
Consistently. It's almost always kicking every racing game's ass, except for Forza 5.
There's not too much competition in this genre, at least on consoles.
Yeah, but I feel like even when the competition dries up, I feel like you also get less bonus points at that point. Because it's like, then everyone starts acknowledging that you're only dominating nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's like sports. There ain't no sports sequels that tend to do very well all the time because they kind of own their own market, and you really have to like fail to improve or just be bad at what you do, like wrestling games, for example, in order to really punish for it.
You're gonna go with the narrative that wrestling games are bad, and they've always been bad.
Wrestling games are bad, and they've always been. I mean, like that THQ franchise? Like all those
WWF No Mercy, get the fuck out
No Mercy was awesome. And
I'm not gonna say they've always been bad.
Okay, yeah, because Here Comes the Pain was
games.
Yeah, Here Comes the Pain was pretty badass on the PS2.
And like those Def Jam games, those were great.
Def Jam was great. They should have made another Def Jam.
Fight for New York, excellent.
Yeah,
Microsoft fucked up. They should have showed Def Jam. God damn it.
No, Icon was bad.
Well, they already fucked it up. But the point is, like MLB The Show, for example, always.
Time out. You ready to get to the saddest part about this yearly thing? The one that makes us sad? Dark Souls 3 was teased and is an early 2016 game.
Which is fucked up.
After Bloodborne, which is effectively a Souls game, was an early 2015 game. After Dark Souls 2 was effectively an early 2013 game. And
they're throwing Miyazaki's name on all of them.
Well, this time Miyazaki's on them. Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's it's like people are forgetting that Demon Souls was amazing because it was a novelty.
Mm-hmm.
There was a freshness to it. It was innovative. It was unique. It was one of a kind. And then Dark Souls was like, okay, now how do we make this bigger and better? And in a lot of ways, they were able to do that. And then Bloodborne, like, I thought because it mixed up the combat so much and just the way the structure was and just the aesthetic, the game world, it gave it new life.
Mm-hmm.
Now going back to Dark Souls 3 is like, well, what the fuck? Why? Or at least like not this soon. Yeah?
Yeah, no, it really is just not this soon. Because it's not even like these are Call of Duty 12-hour things. Like, you can spend 60 hours on these things, so by the time you're done, it's like 3 months away and they've already announced the next one.
Yeah. And I feel like for a franchise like this, you're going to get more likely to burn out because, like, I guess they are so demanding and exhausting. Yeah. But by the time you're done with a Souls game, it is pretty exhausting because on some level, you've done a lot of tedious shit too. Just because of how repetitive those games can be.
Yeah, you almost feel like after you've been beaten down, you want at least 2 years to get up your confidence.
Lick your wounds a bit and then come back.
Yeah. And you're like, hey, I'm ready for the next fight. Whereas if you're just pummeled year after year.
And Ben, how do you feel about it, given your Demon Souls love, but like the rest of the Souls hasn't always ranked super high for you?
Yeah, I mean, I also kind of I feel that bit of burnout.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm worried that it's going to be tough to keep it up with the schedule.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for one thing, I mean, those games are. I mean, there aren't a lot of other games that do what they do, which is helpful, I guess. You know, it's not like a Ubisoft situation where there are like really like 3 or 4 games in the genre every year.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that helps a bit, but I mean I just question like how much their design and art can hold up if they keep having to iterate at this pace. Because I mean, From's not a huge studio.
No. Are you sure though? Because if you think about it, the people who do Armored Core and Steel Battalion, they're not doing anything. Like, maybe they don't have to be necessarily that big, but they had enough teams or people.
There used to always be like 2 or 3 projects.
Yeah, they used to be good enough to do 2 or 3 projects. So imagine if they just
could they do 2 or 3 good projects?
No, they couldn't. But here's what I'm saying: mech games like Armored Core and Steel Battalion were never like exceptional. Like, people like them, I guess, but like, let's talk real talk. When was the last time you ever saw like a mech game get like super praise that isn't Metal Wolf Chaos for how stupid and crazy it is? You know what
Zone of the Enders, I guess.
Yeah, Zone of the Enders, not a From Software game though. Like, people like Chrome Hounds, but Chrome Hounds was one of those like 7 out of 10 games that gets loved in retrospect because they remember how fun it was when the system had nothing. You know what I mean?
I think there are some people in Endless Backlog who like Armored Core.
Yeah, William likes Armored Core, but it's a will game, so that's
He's
how
not
you know
here yet.
You know it's bad though.
Yeah.
It's a will game.
Oh.
You know, it's not a Goggin or Ben game. Those are guaranteed quality.
Right.
Although Monster Hunter 4 is still, you know, we have
quality.
But you say it's quality. I still have to play it. So
you have to give it a shot, man.
I will eventually play other games from 2015 that aren't Bloodborne. I have bought so many 2015 games. I played Bloodborne.
Buy Witcher 3, you sick fuck.
Didn't play it. And when Arkham Knight comes out and it's already like pre-installed, I'll be like, yeah, I guess I'll play.
I just bought that thing for $36.
Yeah. But yeah, Dark Souls.
I mean, if they can pull it off, that'd be good. But like, I mean, for like Bloodborne, he had the time because he wasn't working on Dark Souls 2.
Because like, I feel like they could do the because Platinum does the Platinum game on some level. With most of their games, but because they make such mechanical shifts, I never notice it in like such an obvious manner. Like, yes, they make combo-based games or beat-em-ups, but they're so different. Like, Wonderful 101 just does not play like Bayonetta.
Wonderful 101 is completely different from Bayonetta, which is very different from Rising.
Yeah. And then every now and then they do a Vanquish, and then Anarchy Reigns was a multiplayer game, so...
Yeah.
You know, at Dark Souls and Bloodborne, like, there's too many similarities, if we're being honest, at a certain point. I guess I have to add Ben and Kira now. So, I'm Ben and Kira. Ben, welcome to the podcast.
You've been here the whole time.
Oh my god, William has to be at the bottom of the fucking...
It's also worth noting, the Dark Souls 3 reveal was a CG trailer.
Yeah, so not even a real game. Not even a real game.
The leak had a lot of real screenshots and stuff, but the official reveal is just CG.
Dark Souls 2 had the same thing.
They reveal a lot of those games in CG.
Yes, Dark Souls 2 had the same thing. I mean, it is a little strange considering it's 2016 early release, but whatever. I
mean, they seem to be turning those games out. Alright, so Kira joined the podcast. Well, she's finding her mic, but... This is like the most... Right. I'm so glad Phil's not going to be listening to this because it's Microsoft related, so... I'm not going to have to hear... That was some bullshit! You guys cannot do that shit on every podcast. Like, we don't do it every podcast. We just did it on this one because we didn't give fucks. You know?
What's next?
What was next at this thing? What was next?
Tomb Raider.
No,
I think Tomb Raider came after Halo.
Yeah, let's skip Division Beta because I don't care. Rise of the Tomb Raider... Wait, well, hold on.
First gameplay.
Let's just go to Rise of the Tomb Raider. The first piece of gameplay they show.
So I think we talked a lot about like what we wanted this game to be like on the pre-E3 podcast.
We did
a few weeks back.
Yeah, I wanted it to build on the puzzle design and the like open world / Igavania world design. And
what did you get?
So here's what I was shown. I was shown Lara Croft climbing a mountain with that very obvious, like, wall texture that says you can use your ice pick on it, and as you're going up, there's this treacherous weather, inclement weather, because this scenario's dangerous, and...
Ice falls from the top of the mountain.
Ice falls from the top of the mountain.
Lightning attacks her.
And really all you're doing as a player is moving
ground's crumbling.
Yeah, you move the analog stick up, because that's exciting. Move that analog stick, and then...
It was like, literally, they saw how Uncharted 2 started, and they're like, how can we make this even more unrealistic for a human being to survive?
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing was...
she didn't have a bullet wound.
My whole thing is, I don't see how you made Tomb Raider reboot, and I'm really, like, getting tongue-tied today.
Yeah, you're having a stroke right now.
Yeah, seriously. You know, I just have not recovered from the saddest news in life. Anyway.
That'll come later.
Spoiler warning. God, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so you made the reboot, and then... You know how that game was responded to, and for some reason you thought the spectacle was what everyone liked?
Again, to be fair, they did hint at more Tomb stuff, like, after they showed that trailer.
Okay, so when you watch that trailer, she moves a minecart, and it breaks something, and it's not the solving the puzzle part that bothers me, but if it's still one puzzle tombs, that's not necessarily a good thing.
Right. But I'm just saying, I think that trailer was, again, the same thing that plagued the Halo trailer, in that it's just a spectacle trailer, and it's not indicative of the entire game.
Right. I think William is ready to get in, so I guess he'll just do a quick crash course, and then Kira's here?
Oh, they're both dead.
They're both dead. Okay.
We added Ghosts to the podcast.
It was a lot like how they demoed the first reboot Tomb Raider thing.
We might have to end this just so
they can get in.
Yeah.
So it's a little. I mean, as an exhibition, it's a little disappointing for us.
Yeah, and we're back. The robot and Christopher Compton are still here, and William Bergen and Kira Sutherland have joined us.
Hi, gang.
How does it feel to be part of the one podcast so amateur enough?
Holy shit, you can't speak anymore.
This has been such a bad podcast for me in that regard. Towers is gonna fucking give me so much shit.
Great podcast.
Yeah.
Dude's been having a stroke for the past 4 years.
I've been getting tongue-tied on so many things. Like, partially it's because I'm, like, eating my sandwich here, which I'm so glad, once again, that Phil's not going to be listening to this podcast. Because he bitched. Like, you can't do this during podcasts. Like, I don't do this during podcasts. I just did it during this one. You know?
You know, E3 week, the endurance run of podcasts.
Yeah, we play it very loose. Although, William, I'm gonna say, that mic is sounding really good, so it's gonna be really annoying when you go back to your regular mic from this.
I know, and my regular one's actually not terrible, so it's like,
no,
damn.
That mic is just really good. It's got
this is like a high quality multi-directional mic.
Yeah.
This mic could launch us into professional podcast quality right here.
Yeah,
you guys sound different.
Don't worry, we'll mess it up entirely to make up for that fact. So because you guys missed stuff, I'm just gonna throw the floor back at you guys on the stuff we did mention. Already talked about Halo 5, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Dark Souls 3's tease, the new IP that was shown in ReCore, and Microsoft backwards compatibility, because I assume that none of the multiplats really that we talked about really mattered. Although maybe mods, I guess, if you want to comment on that. And I don't see William ever playing Forza 6.
Or a $150 controller.
Or buying a $150 controller, yes.
You know, if it was on sale, I would buy one. That looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as not $150, though.
Yeah, but, you know, the idea of, a customizable pad that you can build around your preferences is really cool. I'm actually kind of surprised that nobody's, a first party hasn't really come out on E3 and been like, hey, do you hate the DualShock? Here's one that you can customize!
Yeah. I mean, from my understanding, premium controllers like this do cost this type of money.
No, I definitely get why it costs so much. It's just not happening.
You would think Microsoft would have been at a more reasonable price than $150.
I feel like it's one of those things where you announce it and you show it to people, and it's like the PS3 where it's like, that looks really cool, $600. Oh shit! All right, just takes the wind right out of your sails.
Right in the wallet.
Yeah.
I mean, how much is the basic Xbox controller? Isn't it like 70?
60?
Is it 60? I only buy them when they're on sale because they're so damn expensive.
In Canada, it's like 150 because our dollar is shit right now, but...
Nikes.
I remember when controller prices went up to $50 and I was just like, you've got to be kidding, and now they just keep going.
They gotta match the price of the games.
Yeah.
One day the controller is going to be the price of a fucking console.
They already are with the Wii U.
Or the Vita.
I thought you were going to say with VR.
Well, I mean, that too, but I have no interest in VR, so, every time they reveal something about that, it's just cool, don't care. Yeah. Moving on.
Dude, Microsoft showed us the future.
HoloLens does look really cool.
AR.
Yeah.
That, admittedly, that looks really cool, but it's just one of those things, realistically, how much use am I gonna get out of this in most games? Yeah. You know?
It's kind of like 3D. Every now and then there'll be an avatar that really is maybe you should watch that movie in 3D, but most of the time, you don't need to watch that movie in 3D.
That was pure witchcraft, though.
Yeah, that was James Cameron deal with the devil, kind of
Yeah.
What do you want this to do? To blow people's minds! Alright. Yeah.
And that, kids, is how movie magic is made.
I was waiting that whole time for it to screw up somehow.
You go to a crossroad and you put stuff in a little box and then you make out with some hot chick.
Satan! I need some inspiration!
Exactly. Moving on, I guess, from that stuff. How did you feel about backwards compatibility in the emulator? Because I feel like you might appreciate that. Because you still have your 360 stuff.
Yeah. I thought that was fantastic. I'm super happy that they're doing that. My media center has 8 to 10 consoles hooked up at any given time.
So many cords.
Yeah, there's so many cords. So, because my Dreamcast is hooked up, my N64 is hooked up.
What the fuck?
I play everything Like, still.
Hey, William needs an Ocarina of Time machine, you know? Like, if something is incapable of playing Ocarina of Time...
It's called the 3DS.
It's missing something.
Yeah, but, you know, it was like, well, what if I want to play, like, Star Fox 64? Like, yeah, I have the 3DS one, but the audio just isn't the same, man. They re-recorded it, and some of it, like... Star Fox is half the audio. That's
yeah, but N64 and an HD TV is like someone vomited on my screen.
Well, you know, you can turn the sharpness down, and that really helps.
What? Maybe I'll be actually able to play Mario Kart 64 now.
Yeah, all you gotta do is turn the sharpness down.
Chris's mind is blown. He's like, wait, you can mess with the sharpness on a TV?
Shit. It's like a computer.
Somewhere Phil is, if he does end up listening to this, he's going like, that's not how TVs work! You can't make N64 games pretty on 1080p! What are you doing?
No, but you can make it so, like, the jagged edges are less pronounced.
Yeah, that's true.
But I was excited. I think it's really cool that they're doing it. If they've got, like, some kind of automatic resolution thing like they did in the 360 where it just kind of scales it up a little bit, that would be awesome. Like, I think that's fantastic. I wish that Sony wasn't trying to sell me a streaming services that I don't want or need. Yeah. And the Virtual Console was better. Yeah.
I mean, it still's got so many classics on it, but it's like...
It does. Like, the Virtual Console is still really cool when, like, they do something awesome, like put Earthbound on it, like the original... You know, Earthbound Beginnings, I guess.
Yeah. But sure, it'd be cool if it was more Retron than Virtual Console.
Yeah. What do you think about
it? I really don't know. I kind of was doing something else when they were talking about that because I was like, Will has like all the Xboxes.
You're the worst.
I am the worst. I apologize.
Okay.
But I think it's cool that they're doing it because, I mean, I'm sure people missed out on games that they want to try.
Yeah.
I'm all for, like, preserving video games, like, history and making sure, like, we don't lose games, that they don't die.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I hope that
Well, what I was saying is, like, I was saying to Ben earlier, I was like, if they didn't do this, Shadow Complex is stuck on 360 XBLA. And it's like, it's not on anything else.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that earlier, you know, like, because I bought Shadow Complex a couple months ago, and I was thinking, like, man, like, I really don't want to have to plug in and fiddle with my 1,000 chords of death just for Shadow Complex, as excellent as it is.
Yeah.
But now it's like, you know, I think especially preserving the digital games, the digital purchases is the most important thing, and, like, on that basis alone, that's exciting, I think. So.
What game does, because... Obviously, it's not going to get everything on some level, but, like, what game, besides the obvious stuff, but, like, what, like, under-the-radar thing has to fucking make this list of games that's emulated? Like, Shadow Complex has to be one of them.
Yeah, I would say the Viva Pinata games had to, but they're already on it.
They're already on it.
Let's see, the Perfect Dark remake is already on it. I'm trying to think of something that's really... Prey, yeah, Prey would be a good one.
That didn't even come out on, because you can't buy it on Steam.
No.
It'd be perfect then.
The Darkness would be awesome because there's no PC version of that game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Outfit, really underrated Relic game.
Mm-hmm.
Just anything, I don't know, anything that it's really hard to get the copies of.
Yeah.
Are Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon going to be backwards compatible?
That would be really...
Lost
I would
Odyssey.
love to play Lost Odyssey.
Yeah, Lost Odyssey specifically. Fuck Blue Dragon.
Yeah, I don't care about Blue Dragon, but Lost Odyssey would be great.
You like that boss theme?
The boss themes are fine, but, like, Field Plus and Mistwalker is a good combination. Art Tune and Mistwalker was not a good combination, though. It led to, like, really... I mean, I had that weird, like, Dragon Ball art going on. I guess that was nice. Yeah. And blue dragons, I guess, are cool on some level. But, alright. Well, let's cut to the bullshit. Let's cut to the bullshit. We have Goggin on a podcast. We have William on a podcast. I have to eat some Bungie Crow on a podcast next week.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Spoilers.
Microsoft started off with Halo 5.
I actually liked what they showed. I don't know. It
of
felt...
the multiplayer or the campaign?
I liked what they showed of the campaign. It's a vertical slice, so it's gotta be, like, big and explosion-y, but I like the team dynamic that they teased a little bit. I thought that was cool. Very Republic Commando, and I've been, like, itching for a game to scratch the Republic Commando feeling for a while.
Same.
So if Halo 5 comes close, that's great. The multiplayer in that game looks really good. I didn't get to play the beta because I was stupid busy at the time, but I like what they showed. It was going into Halo 4, I had a bad feeling about the game, and I bought it anyway. But everything that they showed, I just didn't like, and I couldn't really put my finger on why. I was like, this doesn't look right. This feels wrong. And Halo 5, when I was watching it, didn't really have that, and that's good, you know. So, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. What did you guys think? Goggin, were you hating on it, or?
Of course, it's a Halo campaign on E3 stage. Are you kidding?
This is a minor thing I didn't think of before, but I guess I haven't been following the Halo story, obviously, but I did not expect Buck from ODST to come back in Halo 5.
I did not expect him to come back and be a Spartan. That was kind of like, oh, okay.
My interest for that game shot up when I was like, ODST? Did someone say ODST?
Yeah, and I like the parallel campaign structure. I think, like, people hate the Arbiter in Halo 2, but it's not because, like, playing as someone else was a bad idea, it's because the levels aren't very good. Like, that's an interesting thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll be cool. I'm excited for that.
What was your issue with it, Goggin?
Plus, what was my issue with it?
Yeah, you're gonna say something. I cut you off.
Well, we already talked about it. Like, me and Chris were like, we felt it was a little too. It's like I'm just tired of seeing that type of demo at E3 of just loud explosion-y thing. Like I said, if I compare it to the other Halo demos at E3, like, let's ignore the fact that I don't like Halo campaigns, right? But if I'm looking back at the Halo 2 campaign, that showed me that you could jack vehicles, which at the time when I was a kid was like, oh fuck yes. Dual wielding, which was a great addition to the Halo gameplay and should have never been taken away.
And battle rifles, like you got to hit the brutes.
Yeah.
Like
the monkeys were a new enemy. They showed the profits.
Some monkeys.
Yeah. Halo 3 didn't have a demo; it had the trailer. Halo ODST never did anything for me in the demo because it was very vanilla looking. But like Halo Reach, the big thing with that demo was more. I mean, it was a tease, like I said. But, like, it was like, oh, fuck, you're taking this to space. And, like, my whole thing going into Halo Reach was, this game can't just be more Halo. It's got to be the biggest, baddest Halo. And whatever. I got more Halo. And so, and then Halo 4, like I said, so we're, like, sadly regurgitating ourselves. So I guess it's fucked up the pacing. But whatever, let's just go with it. Halo 4, like, it showed something very alien. Like, it went back to, like, okay, these Prometheans look different. Like, these weapons look different. Like, the way the presentation is like, okay, no, they're putting their own little stamp on it, even if they're still making more Halo. Like, I was sort of there. This was like, it's loud and explosion-y. I'm done. Maybe I'm just like, I'm finally at that hate stage of Halo campaign where it's just not gonna happen anymore. So, I don't know. But
so you say that, but you will.
I mean, I'll play the game, obviously, but I don't know if I'm going to actually play the campaign. I thought the multiplayer is what really got... I felt like that should have been demoed in some way on stage.
Yeah, I thought that maybe, like, they should have played a Warzone match. Yeah. Because they talked about it, and it looked cool. But I thought, like, hey, you know, if your campaign is basically more Halo campaign, then why not show us this really cool new multiplayer mode?
Because that, I feel like... Because I felt like it got, like, a... pacing on this is gonna be so whack. Yeah. Let's keep it going. Like, let's move on to other things. Like, what else about, like, that we've gone over? Like, Recore, Rise, what's up?
I thought Rise of the Tomb Raider still had the issue of everything Lara Croft touches explodes violently. But that was such, like, a running gag between Kira and I during, the Tomb Raider from 2013 that we had a blast with it. So I think it still looks good. I think it'll be really cool. Timed exclusivity is a thing, you know. Kira, do you want to add anything? I really don't have many thoughts on that other than I'm still excited. It looked gorgeous.
I mean, I'm super excited, obviously, it's my thing. I kind of wish that they showed us something more than what's obviously kind of like the tutorial level thing before she goes off on her own. You know, it's like, show me what we're going to experience. I know she can climb.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't really get that much new stuff. And the thing was, they mentioned later on at the Square Enix conference, which we'll get to eventually, but the tombs were coming back and being a big thing. And my thought is, like, if that's your promise to us, why not show us a tomb? Like,
just a hint. Just something.
Just a hint of a tomb. Like, you don't even have to show us the solution. Just, like, take us through this halfway point where, like, something dramatic happens, maybe.
That should have been the stage demo, in my opinion. That should have been, because you've already, with the reboot, shown that, okay, your shooting mechanics are fine. I don't need you to prove your shooting mechanics. I definitely don't need you to show me that you know how to do a spectacle. I got enough of that. The tombs were the thing that, like, okay, now she's supposed to eventually become Lara Croft. Like, the end game is she becomes Lara Croft, the one that, maybe not the sexualized version, but definitely the smart mouth, rich heiress, blah, 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 right? Like, that chick?
Yeah.
So, show her raiding a tomb. Like, show her...
That would be cool.
But... show her rising to the Tomb Raider. Like, come on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Should name the game that.
Let's skip Dark Souls 3 because I feel like you're just gonna say the same thing we did, which is like, ugh, really? Why are they making a new one?
Like
so fast.
Yeah. Listen, we're just literally gonna regurgitate what we said. Trust me. Forza's whatever. Do you have anything to say about that new IP Microsoft announced?
Recore? Mm-hmm. I thought Recore, like, admittedly, it's a CGI trailer. So we don't really know how it plays, but the idea of you have a companion that can basically die and come back as something else, depending on what you were having to face in the environment, that's cool. If the gameplay surrounding that is compelling, that could be a really cool game. I'm excited to see what they show of it, in the future. But I think that it's cool to see them investing in more new intellectual properties when... especially this show was a lot of, like, you've already seen this, you've already seen this, you've already seen this, you know this is coming. We had a beta for this. But, yeah, on the Dark Souls 3 front, why are they making another one? This is not going to be the last Souls game.
But they said...
Yeah, this is the first time they've said that, so we'll see.
But like, even if they... assuming there's never another Dark Souls, there'll be a sequel to Bloodborne.
No, I already heard them kind of retract the statement. There is going to be a Dark Souls 4, so...
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, well, fuck that. Alright, so I guess now we can officially move on to new stuff.
Fun new stuff.
Listeners and me, Ben and Chris.
Yeah. Forza Division, open beta on Xbox One.
What's on open beta?
The Division.
Okay, fuck that. We gotta talk about that in Ubisoft stuff.
Yeah.
Rainbow Six, we'll talk about it when we get to Ubisoft, but it was shown...
I was thinking the early access angle.
Way to bring the worst thing about PC gaming to consoles.
It was real. A theme.
I don't know. Like, there have been a couple of games that I've played in early access that were legitimately cool. Like, Nosgoth was fantastic. It's a multiplayer game based on Legacy of Kain universe for anybody who's listening and doesn't know what it is. It's free to play. It's on
Steam
PC.
Library. I can't get rid of it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm too afraid to install it and find out it's like garbage or something.
It's really good. It's really, really good. If you want somebody to play with you, I will play it. But it's
actually
really
heard
good.
Things about it.
Yeah, no. I mean, I played it in the alpha, as part of a preview thing for Gaming Bolt, and it was fantastic.
Ooh.
As an alpha, it was fantastic.
Like, let's be clear here. Games that are developed in early access aren't necessarily a problem, because there's been plenty of, like, really good stuff done from that space. The Kerbal Space Program is an awesome fucking game.
Yeah, and that would have been my other one, was Kerbal Space.
And then Killing Floor 2 is looking pretty rad, and then Unreal Tournament is effectively a free early access game right now that's eventually going to become a free game. Right?
Right.
But I don't want that shit on PC, much less on a freaking console. Like, I don't want to pay to fund the fun. That is the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm okay with Kickstarter because it signals interest. Like, basically you're agreeing to buy something in advance, which is essentially pre-orders, but you get to use the pre-orders to make the game. Mm-hmm. But early access is like, you're paying for a beta for a game that might not come out, and you don't really have any say about what's going to change between when you buy it, which you might like it when you buy it, and by the time it actually releases, maybe you hate it.
Yeah, you potentially burn yourself out on a broken version of that game because you played so much of the broken version. Now that it's actually like the ideal thing, you don't want to play it because like, I got so much of this out of my system. And again, it's like early access has gotten a little bit better in that we're starting to see more early access games specifically be things that are going to get done, I feel like. Like, Toxic does not look like it's going to miss its deadline. Killing Floor 2 is going to get done. Trine 3 is going to get done. But it's still just, I don't want to pay for early. Yeah, like I won't buy Splatoon right now, and Nintendo's great at making games simply because fuck you, all that stuff should have been out in May and not August, or make this game come out in August. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you're Nintendo, this is so beneath you to do this, which...
But Splatoon's so good.
That's what makes it worse! Like, they do the EA thing of being assholes, but at least EA has the decency of making a bad game when they do stupid things. Nintendo has to do the Nintendo thing, where the game's actually fun to play, and looks good, and it's unique, and it's got that good game feel, because when you look at that game, and the way the little squids go in that little liquid shit, you're like, that feels good, and you don't even have... You don't even have to pick up you don't even have you don't even have to pick up a controller to know that that little mechanic probably feels smooth as hell because you've played enough Nintendo games and have played enough video games to notice good visual feedback right there. And fuck that game for launching the way it does. That is stupid.
EA early access coincidence? I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Anyway,
what else can we move on to
before we make this a Nintendo bashing thing? Because
indie games. Cuphead looks cool.
Cuphead is fantastic.
Cuphead looks really good. I mean, it was intriguing last year. And this year we actually got to see it, and like, oh my god, it's so fluid.
They really nailed that art.
Yeah. Alex Navarro, who's seen it at E3 proper, has said those visuals hold up when you're up close.
Really?
That game is hard.
I can't imagine making a game like that. Like, from a development standpoint, that seems so difficult.
It is difficult. It's like, that looks like hand-drawn animation or sprites, whatever you want to call it, and how smooth it is. It's thousands and thousands of little drawings. And
to me, it looks like it's all being done in the background. Like, a lot of, like, the really complicated, like, stuff. But, you know, like, pre-rendered backgrounds have actually helped Resident Evil Remake hold up all these years. You know, Pillars of Eternity's got beautiful pre-rendered backgrounds, and it's like, yeah, great, they cheated. It still makes this, like, really clean-looking game, right?
2D animation's, like, actually really tough to do.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
An indie developer made that.
Yeah, and, you know, it's expensive to the point that Disney basically doesn't do it anymore. And that's, like, 2 people who make Cuphead, and I'm just sitting there, oh my god, we couldn't fund this at Disney. There would be no money.
But that gameplay looks so great. I mean, I had fun watching the trailer.
And Cuphead looked awesome, and Ashen looked awesome too.
Yeah.
Ashen's giving me some Shadow of the Colossus vibes because of that giant flying whale.
That looked really cool.
Yeah. Ashen looked cool. Gigantic looked pretty cool.
Gigantic looks cool for a MOBA.
It's okay.
But because it's more action-y, like, I feel like it'll fit more
on a
what
console.
I want, right? Because I keep coming back to it. Like, I respect Dota 2's depth, but I've never liked pointing and clicking where I want to move. I like having direct control of where I want to move.
Right.
Like, even in CRPGs that I like, that bothers me. So, that I'm looking forward to that in Gigantic, and, I don't know. It looks colorful, it looks fun, it'll be at a reasonable price, so who knows. Plus, your ancient, I guess, in this case, actually fights, so that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, no, that's very cool.
Yeah. It's not like those shitty-ass ancients in Dota 2, Ben, just stand there, get blown up.
That's why they need defending.
What did anyone think of Tacoma?
I'm excited.
I thought Tacoma looked really cool.
Yeah. Did you like Going Home? Or did you not play it?
I haven't played it. I'm really not sure what to make of Tacoma, but like from a visual appeal of like, look at this thing that we made. It clicked with me. So I don't know. I'm interested in it. I don't know if I'll buy it, but like as a piece of thing that you could show at E3, yeah, it caught my attention and I thought that looks really cool. I'll have to remember that. So.
And the last indie thing was Ion, where... Well, no, there was another one, but there was Ion, which is made by the creator of DayZ, and it was like a teaser, so this falls... Like yeah, that falls under, if it doesn't have gameplay of any kind, doesn't exist.
The other one was Beyond Eyes, which is about a 10-year-old blind girl. So
that's interesting, so I'm curious.
That is the heart?
Yeah.
How do you do that as a game?
We'll see.
Because I read the Lee Alexander. She's doing stuff on, I want to say it's called offworld.com.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She's doing like these E3 pieces where she's like, all right, here's what you really need to know from the Microsoft press conference. So she basically skipped a lot of the AAA, like, samey sequel bullshit, right? And went to like the interesting stuff, because this stuff is interesting. And the way the game is being described is she's blind and you have to use her other senses to navigate through the world, which, like, okay, yeah, like, naturally, that's what a blind person would have to do. Like, they have to adjust to they become more dependent on their other senses. So I'm like, how do you convey that on a gamepad?
You know, that's one of those games that I could see being really cool in VR. I don't know how you do it on a pad. I think it'll be really interesting to see how they do it on a pad, but
well,
I'm intrigued.
My thing is, how do you convey to the player that they can't see? Because
you can't. I feel like the simple way is like it's a black screen, but that's so boring.
That would just be shit. That would be a bad game. You can't see anything.
Well, look from what they showed, like, as you go around, she kind of sees through her other senses.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking think about The Last of Us, the way that did hearing. When you had Joel stop and listen to stuff, maybe they could do it that way.
It's basically listen mode the game, except it made an entire, like, more interesting system out of it. Huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could see
with
that.
watercolors.
Yeah.
Beautiful watercolors.
I love when indie studios don't automatically go to pixel art and just actually come up with, like, a nicer, more interesting art style.
What a concept.
Yeah. It's like, maybe and whatever, like, especially when it's not a puzzle platformer. I mean, this might still end up being a puzzle platformer, but, you know.
I don't feel like you can make a puzzle platformer where the conceit is that you can't see.
Yeah. I mean, you say that, but indie developers could find a way. So, Big's surprise of the Microsoft conference, besides the backwards compatibility, because I felt like this got a lot of reactions to it. I think most of us came out of it reacting to it very positively. Rare exists as a company, apparently. And
they still make video games.
Yeah. So the first thing they announced was Rare Replay, which me and Liquid and Chris like to point out as it's basically the Viva Pinata collection plus 27 other games. Now you're wondering why 27, that would only be 29. Goggin, you're doing your math wrong, it's 30. Goggin's not counting Perfect Dark Zero as a hit, because that said 30 hits, and Perfect Dark Zero is not a hit. So fuck out of here.
It's the opposite of a hit. It's, oh god, why?
Yeah. But, so the craziest thing about it is it's 30 games at $30, which I don't care how old those games are. That is a fantastic freaking deal, assuming this game isn't broken. Right?
And,
not having multiplayer helps.
Not having multiplayer helps, but but think about, like, first of all, you can never beat you're not beating Rare Replays in when it comes out. You're just not. There's too many games. First of all, Battletoads is in that group. You're not beating that in, like, a reasonable 5 hours about
all.
Yeah, you might not actually beat it at all.
You know, the Banjo games are in there. Those are long if you want to do everything. Conker's Bad Fad.
Long. Viva Pinata can take up a lot of hours. Nuts and
Viva
bolts.
Pinata can consume your life.
Yeah.
10,000 gamer score.
Yeah, 10,000 gamer score. So
Goggin sounds like positively happy about Viva Pinata could consume my life.
I don't care, man. Man, I went into freaking forum threads and was like, I was like, yeah, Rare Replay's cool. Viva Pinata is Rare's best game ever. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. I love Viva
gamer
Pinata.
Score value is incredible.
Do you understand how I was dogging the idea of what Viva Pinata is? Because it came out on the same time Gears of War did, and Gears of War had the great Mad World commercial. I'm like, I'm not gonna play that cartoony shit. And
it's gonna have the tie-in Nickelodeon show, I think, or something like that.
It did, yeah.
But, like, it was... I started reading reviews like, oh my god, Viva Pinata is so good. I'm like, that game? Really? and then obviously, you know, the rest is history. I played it and I was like, oh my god, these games are so fucking cool.
Our love for Viva Pinata is actually what brought Goggin and I together.
Yeah. That or the Darkness.
If the Darkness was not the Endless Backlog game, Viva Pinata would be the Endless Backlog game.
Yeah, because Phil's not a cameo guy at all.
No,
he hates cameo. And he definitely isn't a Perfect Dark Zero guy.
All that collection needed was Donkey Kong 64, and that would have made it for me.
You know,
I wonder why they couldn't get that in.
I wonder why they couldn't get Donkey Kong 64.
Gee, Chris, I wonder why that. No,
guys, listen.
Nintendo, take one for the team. Come on.
The thing that gets me is, and I don't know if this is accurate because we didn't see a lot of it, but I noticed when they pulled back to show all the games, some of them were running in borders and some of them weren't.
Makes sense. Because like
even when widescreen.
Yeah, and some of them were widescreen and some aren't, and I hate borders, man. Like,
I know, but at the same time, listen,
I would almost rather play Conker's Bad Fur Day fully stretched than deal with a border.
You think Conker's gonna be? I thought Conker was gonna be the Xbox version, not bordered.
No, I think
if it's live and reloaded,
if it's Bad Fur Day, it is the original. If it's live and reloaded, then it's either way. Live and reloaded is still in the 4:3 aspect ratio because it's an Xbox game.
If they do Live and Reloaded with multiplayer, and that's the only game that has multiplayer,
If they do Bad Fur Day and it's the only game, the multiplayer in Bad Fur Day was fantastic. It was just limited by.
What if Rare always was really good at multiplayer, except for the one time they made Perfect Dark Zero?
Perfect Dark Zero's multiplayer was like the best part of the game.
I mean, you say that, but it really isn't that much of a
that's not like a particularly high bar, but it was still enjoyable for that.
Yeah, it's like saying, hey, Resistance's multiplayer is the best part about Resistance 1. It's like, yeah, but it's also bad. It's still the best part about Resistance 1, you know?
I mean, you're not wrong, but you're not really saying anything.
Yeah.
The only multiplayer they should put in that is Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
Like, okay, first of all, let's time out here, because we're also going to be the same podcast that dogs all these things for being fucking remasters at other things. So, yes, understood that this is mostly a glorified
30 remasters.
This isn't even a remaster, realistically. This is a straight port job, if anything.
Well, at least they're valuing them at the price they deserve to be valued at.
$1 a game. Battletoads deserves to be at better than $1 a game.
No, it doesn't.
Battletoads is good. What?
No, it's not.
You really think Battletoads isn't a good platformer?
It's pretty overrated.
It's super unfair and it's a little overrated. I agree. It's a good game though. Like you can see where it's like
the art was really cool at the time.
The mechanics are good. Like the mechanics feel right.
You guys got Battletoads?
Yeah.
You know, the other thing is that a lot of these
Battletoads were in Shovel Knight, Ben. Are you gonna, disagree with Yacht Club Games now?
Kratos was in Shovel Knight.
Yeah, they have bad taste. Alright, you're right. Okay. We can move on.
But, like, real quick, the best thing about it is that a lot of these games are not easy to find. Like, if you want a copy of Bad Fur Day on the N64, it's like $100 on eBay.
Sorry to get sidetracked one more thing. There was a great thread on NeoGAF with Grant Kirkhope on how Diddy Kong Racing became Diddy Kong Racing when they were making Banjo. So, they were initially working on, what's it called, AM Pro Racing or whatever?
RC Pro M.
RC Pro M, right? Like, that's the game they were gonna make, and Nintendo was apparently getting super behind them. Like, you should go look this up, because it's actually, like, such a cool story for how that game ended up being. Because think about what Diddy Kong Racing is to a lot of people. Like, that game, to me, was the best racer on the N64.
Yeah, it was.
And what happened was, they couldn't actually ship out Banjo that specific year, and Nintendo had already set aside the money they would use to market the shit out of the game, so they're like, they looked at RC Pro M Racing and said, alright, throw Diddy Kong characters in this, we'll go sell this. So the Banjo team lost all their marketing money to the other Rare team that was doing a racing game, and the rest is history with Diddy Kong Racing. It was so cool to listen to that story.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But Rare Replay looks cool. You know what else looks cool? Rare's new IP, Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Whenever there's pirates involved.
Rare is making a new IP. It is gamepad based. You might be able to play it on a mouse and keyboard as well. It is also on PC.
First person pirate.
You're a first person pirate and you can make people walk the plank. So the first thing we're doing is making El Josa walk the plank.
El Josa!
You're dead.
We have a treasure for you to find.
Off the ship.
The bottom of this ocean. Yeah.
Just wait until we bring the ship back for you.
So yeah, it's like a shared world, like a Destiny thing.
Yeah. So that's worrying. But it's pirates! It's
Shared world's
pirates!
not terribly bad.
What?
Demon Souls is a shared world.
That's true.
No, but he made a Destiny thing, so I'm like, that part's so good. Oh,
Yeah,
but anyway, Pirates is cool. We don't have enough Pirates video games.
True.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Like, we had Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie,
Disney.
and there should have been a great run of pirate-related things, and then we just didn't get a great run of pirate-related things.
Thank
There was
you,
going to be
Assassin's
a
Creed.
Disney Pirates of the Caribbean game,
Huh?
And it looked really cool.
and it got canceled just before it was finished.
Yeah.
And it looked really cool.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, again, this comes back to not enough gameplay. Which, I mean, there was gameplay shown on some level, but it's...
Go ahead,
yeah,
sorry.
It wasn't a proper demonstration. You can keep going.
It almost seemed like this was an early build.
Mm-hmm.
Like a really early build. That's just the feeling I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like... You could play this, like, within the next year.
Yeah.
I mean, holiday 2016, there's a lot of work to go on that. But the idea is cool. The idea is fantastic.
The idea is instantly cool. You know it's not going to be a $60 game, I would imagine. I don't feel like it's going to be a $60 game.
I feel like it might be the Fable Legends route of free-to-play.
Yeah, free-to-play or like $40 type deal again. Like
yeah, or a $20 downloadable, something like that.
Which is fine. Like, anything that brings Rare back to, like, a respectable light. Because, if Microsoft's model is their $60 games are going to be the same shit, but their this other stuff is a little bit more creative, I feel like that's a happy balance. Like, I can live with that.
Yeah.
Even if, in this case, I'd rather play on the PC.
The other thing about it is, it's really cool. It's just really cool to see Rare making a game again.
Yeah, thank God.
Like, I mean, when was the last time we got a proper game for, like, nuts and bolts,
2008.
Right? Yeah, and, it's been such a long time. And the fact that Microsoft is clearly putting money behind them again and letting them do stuff is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Spencer is a fantastic person to be the head of Xbox, and that's really
so far he's an improvement. I mean, neither of these two new IPs better get the fucking Phantom Dust treatment.
Oh my god, I'm still a little upset. You know what else is funny that we didn't see at Microsoft's conference this year was we didn't see any mention of Crackdown. Like, a lot of the stuff that they announced last year just didn't show up.
Yeah, though that got Gamescom right before the thing. They said Crackdown 3, Scalebound, and Quantum Break are going to be at Gamescom. So, like, the whole thing you were thinking was like, okay, so then something else has to take their spot at this E3. And I guess they decided to fill with Rift War and Rare, which,
not a horrible
good gestures. Would prefer to see actual games, but I think they were like, okay, like, we're spacing out our projects a little bit. More or less, these systems are starting to pick up in terms of games, it feels like.
Yeah.
We're about to get a flood soon. It's coming.
Oh
2016 is going to be an absolutely insane year. Like,
the storm is coming.
So,
the year that we thought this year is going to be next year, and
see, I don't know about that because we're starting to think about what 2015 is in November. It's actually getting pretty loaded. Like, I forgot what
2015's not bad.
Yeah, 2015 started off really strong. It's just a lot of the stuff that filled out early half a year is stuff like Ori and Hotline and City Skyline, which is downloadable stuff. But, like, we're going to get a Battlefront, which is looking like a badass game. We're going to get Halo 5, which is looking pretty good. We're going to get Fallout 4, which, you like. Metal Gear Solid 5 is looking strong. There's another game in September that's going to be good.
Rock Band, October 6th.
Rock Band, that's coming back.
Mario Maker,
yeah, that's September 11th. I forgot, yeah.
Yoshi's Woolly.
Nintendo actually phrased it the 11th of September.
Yeah, I know. Like, so why don't you just pick a different day? Because you had to, like, chew on that shit. Anyway.
Maybe on that day they wanted to just bring some joy into people's lives.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I want to get into... Now that we've had this positive run, we should probably get to a criticism that Microsoft has to accept, or just one that we should lobby against them, right? Considering that we do downplay the Vita as I can play those games anywhere else. Microsoft's games end up on the PC a little too often because Killer Instinct just got moved to the PC.
Right.
The Gears Remaster.
Gears Remaster is on PC.
Mm-hmm.
This Rare game is on PC.
Fable Legends is going to be on PC.
Fable Legends, which is the next game I'm getting at, is a Xbox One PC game. Now, yes, it's a free-to-play game, so I guess that inherently makes sense, but at the same time I'm going like, so then the only Xbox One exclusive this year is Halo 5 and Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Rise is totally a timed exclusive because it'll end up on something else, at least Windows.
It'll probably end up on everything else.
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways to look at this. On the one hand, I'm happy that the PC is getting these games because I feel like it's going to build a bigger install base for them and a bigger fan base, and they will be able to
be better for the developer.
Yeah, it's better for the developer for sure. And it's better for the franchise, and it's better for gamers because you have an option. You know, if you want to play it on your Xbox One, you can, but if you don't own an Xbox One and you really want to play Sea of Thieves, you can still do that. And that's a good thing. It's just, for those of us who own a PC and an Xbox One, it kind of diminishes the value of the Xbox One.
I mean, my consoles already suffer from they're that one game machine. Like, PS4 became a Bloodborne machine, and Wii U I would call a Platinum Games machine, but I do play a lot of Smash recently, so I guess that's...
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Wii U, ironically, has less dust on it than my PS4 and my Xbox One.
Mario Kart 8 every day.
Do you really play Mario Kart 8 almost every day?
Not every day.
But you really like that game?
Yeah, I love that game.
I like that game a lot.
It's a great game.
That game stayed in my disc tray for a long time, and the only thing that basically replaces it for long periods is Smash.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great game.
Yeah, it's a shame it's a Mario Kart game. You know?
It's a shame that Mario Party doesn't have multiplayer.
My nephew wants that game, and I keep telling him, like, dude, no, you don't want Mario Party.
You don't understand.
You want to stay Mario Party free for the rest of your life. You also wanted Splatoon, because apparently the commercial worked really well on him. He's like, you can ambush people. I'm like, you ambush people in every first-person shooter and third-person shooter. That's not unique. They just tricked you.
You can be.
Stop ruining his dreams.
No, he's really like, he'll fight though. He's like, but you could be a squid. And I'm like, I was like, okay, you know what? That one is actually pretty new. You know, I didn't really have a counter to that one. But, what else?
What do we think of Fable Legends, guys, overall? I mean, I think it's interesting.
Of Fable Legends.
I've never liked a Fable game, so I just don't care. Like, if it's for a Fable... to me, it's like the most different thing Fable's done in a while. It's not even like actual Fable.
No,
right?
it's like
I think the conceit of it is cool. The 4-on-1...
The concept seems cool, and it's like, if I remember right, it's like a Dungeons and Dragons-y type thing where 4 people are... You're the AI director from Left 4 Dead. Like, you could do that if you want. Yeah. And that's kind of freaking cool, and it's almost like, man, if there was a console with like a tablet interface, it would be like perfect for this type of game if someone had made this, maybe. I don't know. I'm just throwing crazy ideas out there.
Cersei is in it.
Cersei's in it? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Lena Headey's the voice actress.
I don't know. It seems kind of like Evolve, but with swords and bows and magic.
Man, Evolve. Talk about a game that just came out and got forgotten.
Yeah.
Probably an apt comparison.
Yeah, cool multiplayer, though. Too bad they...
priced everybody out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I felt like the DLC stuff some people overreacted to on some level, because a lot of it was almost all cosmetic, and you get free maps, and I'm like, I'm not seeing the issue. I don't care about costume skins. But the way they presented it was basically to piss people off. Like, there's no way you don't piss people off that way.
Well, and hey, you don't actually have to work to unlock stuff. It's just all unlocked. It's like, really? So, like, everybody else who just, like, buys it on impulse is screwed? Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. That I guess has some level of impact. But, I mean, my thing about it is I don't feel bad for stupid people. I mean, my big thing with that game is, like, after it was unique, but it was fun, but it wasn't fun long enough. Not enough that I'd want to play it too much. It's inherently going to struggle because you need, like, 3 of your buddies to want to play. Whatever. This is not the Evolve podcast, but whatever. Evolve was a thing. It was not a bad game. It wasn't a good game. It was unique, but it wasn't a thing. And Microsoft's closer was
Gears
of War. So the recently turned Coalition Studios, or is it just Coalition?
Rest in peace, Black Tusk.
Rest in peace, Black Tusk. The tribute band to Epic Games is they not only showed Gears of War Ultimate, which again is on also PC, but they showed a little bit of Gears 4, which they titled Gears 4, but I think it's still called Gears of War as a franchise. I don't know. I don't care. It was a new guy in the thing. Like, it wasn't Marcus Phoenix. You know? He's with some chick. It was really dark.
It was so dark.
It was so dark.
I thought it was my monitor, like, I can't see anything.
Which seemed very intentional because he was using a flashlight nearly going until the flashlight died out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, I don't know if those guys ever played Doom 3, but newsflash, no one liked Doom 3. Specifically for flashlight related reasons.
Just because you didn't like Doom 3.
Just because you didn't like it.
No one liked Doom 3! You guys keep forgetting this. You're the crazy ones. This is not one of those cases where Goggins' opinion's out there and wild. You're the minorities this time.
That game was well received when it came out. I'm not going to do this with you. I'm not going
to
do
it.
Yo,
anyway.
Gears of War 4, you fought a tornado. It was sick.
Yeah, I was like, okay, Gears of War crossover with Alan Wake. All right, whatever.
Yeah, man, that's the final boss right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Pack your flare guns, folks.
No, it was actually kind of a really weirdly paced demo in the sense that, other than the tornado thing, it was not really spectacle driven. It was a lot of just like wandering through. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like the opposite of what we think Gears of War is these days.
Right. Maybe it's got more horror focus.
Like it's going back to what Gears of War 1 had.
Well, 1 did, yeah. I was about to say, it reminds me of Gears 1. And that's not a bad thing. If you're going to redo the series, like go back to that, make it different.
Mm-hmm. It already looks completely different than the other ones, except for like 1, but it still looks different from 1 in a way. So
I'm interested. I mean, it's not a day 1, but I'm interested.
That was a closer though. So
that was I mean, I think that was probably the right game to close on though.
Yeah. I mean, really, they didn't have.
Yeah, of the games there, that was the one.
Yeah, I mean, it was either that or Halo 5.
At the least, it's a stronger close than Crackdown 3's teaser?
Yeah.
CGI teaser, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although, I would argue that closing on Rare might not have been a bad move either.
No, that's true.
I think if you'd closed on Sea of Thieves, that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep. But obviously, Gears is the big gun, and that's going to be the holiday 2016 game.
Yeah. They would need a longer demo for Sea of Thieves.
So, where do we land on Microsoft? Roundtable, Ben.
B-, C+.
I didn't ask for a grade, but okay. But like, okay,
He's
so
got that teacher blood in him.
Summarize it, Professor Minkoff.
I mean, they did what they needed to do and not much more, it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we have a new Halo, we have a new Gears, we have a new Forza. We have a new Fable thing, I guess, and here's some other stuff.
We're bringing back 360 games, so the 360 guys that want to not come back with us, hey!
Like, that was nice. That was nice points. But it felt like the new stuff felt very few and far between.
Plus, not enough gameplay.
Not enough gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Always not enough gameplay.
Do you think, even though they were announced, footage of Scalebound and Quantum Break or Crackdown 3 would have helped?
Gameplay footage would have been nice.
I think footage for Scalebound and Crackdown definitely would have helped. Yeah, because we've seen Quantum Break.
Yeah.
But I just after the Phantom Dust thing, I want to see those games. You know what I mean?
To make sure.
It's like,
I want to make sure that they're okay. You know, check for a pulse. But I don't know. I thought the conference
they're dead.
was pretty solid all the way around. I thought it was good. I thought they hit a lot of notes that were good. I didn't think that they wasted time. It was paced well. Microsoft's usually pretty good about that.
The last 2 years, the last 2-3 years, they've been very. There's been no fat on their podcast since well, maybe the Minecraft thing went along a little too long.
Yeah,
they've been a lot more mindful of avoiding their like cross media stuff that they used to
but they know what to say, and they know like the order to put things in. I feel like they know what would segue well into other things and what people want to see. And I think that's very cool. I'm going to agree with Ben and say, I wish there had been a few more surprises. Like, we know Gears of War is coming out, you know? Like, we know... Like, the biggest thing for me was Sea of Thieves, and I didn't get a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have liked to have seen more of that, or maybe when it was further along, just waited until then. But what they showed was good. I thought their conference was very solid, and they had a clear mission of, like, we're going to do games, we're going to show you what we're working on, and it's a mixture of new and old, and, you know, it's solid lineup.
Yeah. Chris?
I actually thought it was pretty good. A lot of steady stream of games, no overtly cringy shit, embarrassing stuff that's been plagued maybe some of the past conferences a couple of years.
Just a little bit.
Like the Xbox One is the next water cooler?
Just awful. Yeah. I think by playing it safe a little bit, that they kind of avoided some things that usually kill them in the past. So no shooting in the foot is actually kind of a bar when it comes to E3.
And the only issue with that is that you don't get any huge announcements out of that.
Right.
And, we'll get to this when we talk about Sony later on, but huge announcements aren't always the be-all, end-all, but it's the exclamation point on the end of a sentence, and sometimes you really need it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if they don't have that big exclamation point next year, we're just going to be like, they've been solid. You need to be more than solid here. You're not winning.
Okay, so what here's my thing. Like, what if in this whole solid thing, like, they suddenly start building, like, this... Because, I'm starting to look at their lineup. Let's say their games come out and they're good. Like, I'm not even saying they're all going to be great. 9 out of 10, blah, 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 Game of the Year contenders. Whatever. Halo 5 is Halo 5. Like, Halo's it's a proven franchise. When it works in multiplayer, it's one of the better multiplayer franchises. Gears of War, same thing with the multiplayer. Some people... I think the campaigns have had their moments, too. Remedy's a good studio, in my opinion. I think Sam Lake is highly entertaining, so I'm looking forward to Quantum Break. Platinum Games, for my money, is the best developer right now. Plus, they're mercenary as fuck. So, they're awesome. And it's Hideki Kamiya, so, like, you start adding that in, and Rare's getting it back to form. Crackdown 3 could be a fun... Like, Crackdown 3 is in a position to be a breath of fresh air for open world games because of the way the original Crackdown was. Right? Because I don't think we've been getting that sandbox game that Crackdown was. We've been getting the Rockstar-styled open-world game just by everyone else, with the exception of Just Cause, right? Like, you start... Right? Like, maybe they don't get the big surprise nostalgia trip, but considering that a lot of their stuff is actually newer and not relying on some old love, and suddenly you can't just say Microsoft's a shooter box, 'cause I'm looking at Scalebound, that's not going to be a shooter, you know what I mean? Like, Crackdown is, of course, but what's it called? Record doesn't look like it's going to be a shooter. Rare doesn't make shooters, for the most part, outside of Jet Force, Gemini, and Perfect Dark. So.
I mean, the other thing, and I want to hand it to Kira before I forget, and we're all like, let's keep going!
Yeah.
No,
we're about to close off on this soon, so.
Yeah, the thing is... to me, is that we've been saying this for a long time, like Microsoft needs to invest in a first party, they need to invest in their own games, and they're finally doing it. And they're building relationships with, maybe even if it's not a first party studio, but they're building relationship with these companies that like, hey, you can make games for us. Yeah. We will fund you if you do this. And I think that's really good. So, like, to have it finally get to maybe it's not as much as we would like, but it's getting there. And in a few years, it will definitely be there if they keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a pretty solid conference overall, I think. Same as y'all said, more gameplay, but I'm excited for the new stuff that they unveiled, and I can't say that about previous conferences that they've done, but I think next year, now that they've figured out, okay, we know how to pace this, we know how to trim the fat off, I think that they're going to have a really strong conference next year. Because some of these games will be more developed and we'll see even more new games, and I think Microsoft's going to do really, really well.
They're definitely turning it around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, let's close this out with this. Everyone name what they felt was the best game shown in this press conference. Has to pass the CGI test rule. If it doesn't have gameplay, it doesn't count. I'm sorry. It's not a game. So, Ben.
Cuphead.
Chris?
Ashen.
Yeah?
Was that CGI?
No. It was gameplay. I mean, it's an indie game, so that's the other thing. But there's gameplay demos I'm seeing.
That looked interesting to me.
That has gameplay demos.
Yeah, I like that aesthetic.
Kira?
Cuphead.
William?
I think it's between either Sea of Thieves or Ashen or Cuphead for me. I can't really decide. I like all three of them a lot.
Oh, you gotta write something, so by the time you write something, you'll think of something. You'll pick one, then.
Yeah.
So that's I'll just go ahead and say, yeah, it's Cuphead, man. That game, I mean, I was pretty high on that game last year. I think I put it at number 1 of the top 5 indie games for me last year from E3. I think that was one of the things I wrote. Whatever, I don't actually remember it at this
Sounds
point.
familiar.
Yeah, but I was like super into just the way that game looks. Like I said, that classic art style makes my old man heart swoon. God damn.
Back in the 70s when we first got a black and white TV.
Yo, not even whatever. I was raised on Cartoon Network, man. They would just cartoons for days.
Yeah.
SWAT Cats, and then you'd go into freaking Birdman, and then you'd end up at motherfucking Tex Avery shit late at night on Saturdays. Tex Avery's the fucking man.
I think that would probably edge the other two out for me, just because it was really cool last year and it definitely made an impression, and this year to see it in motion and to see it looking precise and beautiful.
It's not a puzzle platformer. It's like it's more Mega Man. It's like, no, Mega Man is great. Make more Mega Man.
Yeah, and it's co-op.
Capcom's not doing it.
Good. All right.
So that does it for Microsoft E3. I believe.
Are we grading?
Do you want to grade? Do you specifically want to grade?
I mean, I think we maybe should have that discussion. So when we talk about
then I'll give them. I give them a
versus each other.
C. Personally, that was very average. I wanted more surprises and whatever. Ben gave him a B. No minuses.
C plus then.
No pluses either.
You can do plus and no minuses.
Fine, whatever. C plus?
Yeah.
You just want to give him a plus over me. Whatever, asshole. Chris?
Will.
Chris.
Me?
I mean, I can go first.
I'd say B.
Okay.
Solid
plus. Yeah.
Solid B from me. Just because they had stuff that I wanted, and they showed new stuff, and there were a couple surprises in there. So solid B.
B minus for me, simply because I wanted more gameplay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I agree.
Average like a B minus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alright, so that does it for the Microsoft E3 press conference. I don't know if we'll go straight up chronological order. I think we should do the Sony press conference next, personally. Especially if we're going to do it like literally right now. Otherwise, we are out.
Peace.